I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. Thank you for a good day that you've given us and watching over us. We pray for many people in our community that have sickness, and we pray that you watch over them and meet their needs as far as healing or bring them back to health. I pray that you help us each one to look to you for guidance and direction in our life. And tonight we ask that you be with us as we discuss this town. I pray that you'd give us guidance, give us wisdom, give us strength to go through this meeting, knowing that you're guiding and directing us, Lord. Thank you for your love for us. Continue to watch over us as we go through the week and the people in our community. And I pray that you would just know we love you and thank you for all that you do in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. All right, first thing we're gonna have is roll call.
The mayor and board of aldermen dated September 12, 2023. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Nibley.
Here.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Here.
Mayor, let the record show that a quorum of the board is present.
Okay, thank you very much. First thing we have is to approve our minutes from our previous meeting. Here a motion unless there's a question or addition or deletion. I hear a motion we accept.
I so move.
Moved by Alderwoman Denby. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it almost looks like family out there today. I just don't, unless there's a lot of public here, but if there's any public comments on the current agenda items, then would be the time to make them. Does anybody like to make a comment? Okay, we're going to move on to our presentation of our financial statements for July 2023 by Ms. Deborah Moak, our CPA and municipal accountant.
Tonight's financial statements include the balance sheet as of July 31st, 2023, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the 1 month ending July 31st, 2023, a summary budget to actual comparison by fund, and a detailed budget to actual comparison by department. These financial statements have been distributed to all department heads and aldermen for their review. In summary, the town has combined cash in the bank of $13.6 million, included restricted funds of $10.5 million in the hydro fund and $1.3 million in the sales tax fund. Investments total $14.8 million. The hydro reserve fund has the $2.4 million. There's $1.6 million in the general fund, $705,000 of ARPA funds, $5.1 million of hydro funds that are invested at LAMP, and $5 million of hydro funds are invested at Delta Bank. Total assets are $54 million. Total liabilities are $7.4 million for a fund balance of $46.6 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 1 month ending July 31st indicates combined revenues of $3 million, total expenditures of $2.8 million, for a change in net position of $213,000 excess. Cash increased in July over last month due to having received $8.2 million in hydro royalties in July. Sales tax collections are continuing to increase over the same time as over last year. At the end of August, sales tax collections over the same time last year were up by $198,000. Hydro royalties for the month of July amounted to $1.2 million. Capital outlay is at 5% of budget. Personnel costs are at 8% of budget. Materials and supplies are at 8% of budget. And other services and charges are at 4% of budget. The change in net position is at 2% of budget. We have used $279,000 of the ARPA funds to offset the power cost adjustment.
I can hear you, Deborah.
time the budget was adopted, if approved, rebates were projected at 2.8 million. However, as will be discussed in tonight's meeting, that amount will be increased if approved.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Any questions from the council to Ms. Moe? Deborah, thank you for that report. Appreciate that. All right, the next thing we have is board discussion and vote on approval of occupational license applications. The first one we have is 7 Mark 4 Inc., and that is a change of ownership. Is there any questions on that? There a motion we accept?
Motion.
Motion made by Alderman Probst. There a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have is Craig Wilson Sweet. That's Miss Pyara Brown Wilson, and that's our own clerk. And Pye, do you want to say anything about what all you bake? No, you don't? Okay. All right. Is there any questions? God, I'll entertain.
That's a good opportunity to advertise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, to hear a motion we accept.
I make a motion.
Motion made by Alderwoman Debbie. To hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have is the Rusty Bucket. It's Kevin LeBlanc. And it's got an accompanying sign application for a flea market at 400 Carter Street. Anybody got any questions? You'll look at that in the sign application. Kind of cute. I hear a motion to accept the occupational license and the sign application. Motion made by Alderman Pope, there's a second.
Second.
Alderman Smith, is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next thing we have is a Pepe Deto's Mexican Kitchen and Cantina. This is the liquor and beer permit. Do I hear a motion we accept them for liquor and beer permit?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith, I hear a second. Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have is an outdoor sign application by Johnny's Pizza House. You know, the other one got took out by the ice house there. And this is to replace that. So if you look at that, that's what they're going to, but no, that's not, they're showing it going up on their building.
They don't have it.
The road.
Huh.
Yes.
I thought they would have had one on the building.
I know it may need
It
change,
might be a different one.
but the one at the road is temporary.
Yes, I
It's
thought
up there.
temporary. Do I hear a motion we accept this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner. I hear a second. Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Number 4 on our agenda is board discussion and introduction of an ordinance supplementing and amending an ordinance adopted on January the 14th of 2020, authorizing the issuance of electric utility revenue bonds, Series 2020, of the town of Vidalia, state of Louisiana, and providing for the other matters in connection therewith. What this does is just extend that bond into the future. You know, as you know, we paid off all of our debt. There's no balance on any of that, but this just renews that bond for the time being for us to finish our transformer and do the transmission line. That just basically extends these bonds till we think projected finish date is. That's what this is. Is there any questions on that? If not, do I hear a motion? Motion made by Alderman Probst. Here a second.
What are we moving for?
Pardon?
This is an introduction, isn't it?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it is in
All right, I'm sorry.
discussion.
Okay, I'm thinking resolution, but that's all right. All right, so that's the introductions. We ready to go? More discussion, the introduction of an ordinance to ban the use of kratom within the town of Vidalia, Louisiana. This is an introduction as well, but I would like for our police chief, Joey, if he's requested this. The parish has made it illegal for the sale of kratom. There's a lot of controversy over this, and right now within the city limits, it is being offered. This is going to ban the sale of that in our town. I personally have never, I studied up on it today when the police chief brought it to me. And all the studies from Mayo Clinic and things I've read about said any potential benefit, is certainly the side effects are way worse. So, if anything that's any kind of hallucinogenic or anything like that, I think we need to be very careful. But I appreciate the police chief bringing that to us, because what usually targets is a lot of our younger kids in school and stuff. And I can tell people right now that vaping is rampant in our kids. It is a bad problem. And as those of us who have some kind of say in the public health for our kids, as a parent, if you're listening to this, test your kid. There's tests that you can buy to test your kids if they're vaping. And this hasn't been out long enough to know. These kids I'm talking about 12, 13, 14 years old are vaping. They can be doing it in your house and you'll never know it. And these kids are still developing. Their lungs are developing. Their brains are developing. Their organs are still developing. And for them to be taking whatever's in these vapes, I get upset when I think about how easy it is for them to get it. It's in our schools. It's everywhere. And don't think it is. Don't stick your hand in the sand and think my kid ain't doing it. And I don't think you'd violate them to have them tested. They should all agree to that. So that's just my little 2 cents there. So
Question.
Yeah.
On the parish. You say that's already in the parish, correct? Isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
We in the parish, so are we not able to enforce it? Oh, okay.
It's not in the next one.
You got copies of it.
Yeah.
And, so it's not including the.
Okay. All right. I didn't want
I
to clear
thought the
that
same
up.
thing.
Because we in the parish, but that's makes sense, I guess.
Can the chief come and talk to us about it and give us?
Pardon?
Could Chief Merrill come and talk with us about it and give us more information on it?
Okay, what Ms. Dim is asking, can you come talk to us more at some point and give us more information about it?
What I'll do is I'll, take the current book and explain with you with, on that. It's only a matter of time, I believe, before it's gonna be ran statewide. I know it's in the motion. It is being offered in some of the stores in the day, and we have, getting a hold of it.
So is that vape? Is
That's
Crent?
a
You can take it, it can come in a pill form, they can.
Oh, I'm so,
It's also, they can, it's in leaf, I mean, they can smoke it, you can put it in pills, you can.
I mean, if he wanted to come up and talk about it now, it'd be good. Good to me. I mean, okay.
I would rather get some facts on it, bring it up, that would.
This is the
And what we'll do is next time it's gonna be public comment anytime, be a good time for anybody to have,
Right.
if those people out there are proponents of it, I'd love to hear it, but I just don't see it happening, but anyway. Okay, thank you, Joy, and appreciate you bringing it to our attention. The next thing I have is board discussion and vote on approval for Vidalia Police Department, which is Ms. Tiffany Simpson as an administrative assistant. Any questions? You have the chief here. If not, to hear a motion, we accept the hire.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Betts, I hear a second.
second.
Second by, I think, Alderman Probst. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, last month, we told you a little bit about the DOT sidewalk grant that the town was awarded. And we have here Ms. Loran Scott, our town grant administrator, and also Ms. Anna Goose. Did I say that right? I mean, but I'm talking about the last name.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, and I asked them to come, do a little presentation for us to show us, because there's some concern if some questions came up, especially from people that live on Concordia Avenue. Hey, wait, we don't have, you're gonna take up our front yard if you come put a sidewalk there. And, I think that'll put some of those fears to rest. And y'all just tell them a little bit about the plan and y'all have the floor.
All right, thank you all for having us. You all have a copy of the the PowerPoint presentation, so you can follow along. You can peruse it at your leisure. So we all know that this is a grant that was offered by the TAP program, which has been in existence for a number of years. It's actual federal funding that is dispersed through the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, which is available to all states. So it was previously known. Dustin. it was previously known as the Transportation Enhancement Program. And its goal is to build a more balanced transportation system where it's not just for motorists, but bicyclists, pedestrians, and those who ride their motorized wheelchairs. Next slide, please. The justification for needing this funding is Louisiana has one of the highest rates of pedestrian fatalities in the nation. And so this investment will help make transportation safer for residents here. And if you would like to read up on that, there's a study that was conducted by LTRC in 2021. You can look at the data on that will show you how many pedestrians are hit trying to cross highways or drivers veering off the road. It's an array of things with the titles there, and it tells you how many fatalities there have been, and it was very alarming when we looked at the data. I had no idea it was that many just in District 21, just 65 and 84. Okay, next slide, please. This is how we began. When we decided to try to go after this funding, it is a part of the infrastructure bill, as you already know, and it's so many components to it. But the main thing was we knew there was a fatality on Oak Street. We knew there was one down by Walmart. So Anna connected me with her boss, Jessica Stroop, which she's in that video in the tan color pants at the bottom. And they facilitated a walk audit with us so that we could walk this area to see exactly where the dangers of walking Murray Drive and Concordia Avenue, and also where sidewalks could be implemented along those areas so that the students could walk safely from school to home, or community citizens could walk from their homes in the community to the Council on Aging, the library, Family Dollar, Vidalia Market, but those entities, it's all about connectivity, safely being able to go, and of course to the different churches. So that's a picture of everybody that participated in the walk audit, and those are students and coaches that participated in with it. So we were given clipboards, and everybody, wrote down different things and needs, and so that was part of what was put in the grant to justify having it. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is what Mayor Kraft was talking about. We know there are going to be concerns anytime you're dealing with property and such. But this is the wheels, what the funding will do. It'll provide safe access to businesses and community entities, enhance quality of life for economically disadvantaged students, provide a key component to deter and prevent pedestrian motorist fatalities and serious injuries. What it will not do is impose or infringe on the property of any citizen in the town of Vidalia, cost the town of Vidalia monetarily, which frees up match funding and hydro funds for neighborhood Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA compliance. That means putting those ramps on the sidewalks in the neighborhoods because we don't have to pay the match money. And we know that it is a DOTD requirement that all sidewalks are ADA compliant. Also, it will not be an isolated improvement. This is only phase one of the overall plan that we have for the town of Vidalia. This is going to take care of major sidewalk issues on the north side of Carter Street, which is phase one. Then phase two will be Carter Street itself. And then phase three will be the south side of Carter Street, over by, from where Martin Luther King Drive is, Young's Chapel, the junior high. So this is not a one and done. This is a vision for the town, because we don't want it to be, well, one side of town was, fixed or enhanced, and then the rest of the town remains the same. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm gonna try to use this pointer. This is Carter Street, of course, and this is the high school. See these little blue marks that Wynn was so nice to put on here for us and help with the grant? These are the areas right here where there are missing sidewalks, or they are not, well, on Murray Drive, they're all missing. There are no sidewalks. And the terminology that was in the grant was desired path, which is where pedestrians have been walking in the grass so long until they've almost made a dirt sidewalk so that they can get from point A to point B. The biggest concern was right here in this curve, and this is where Calvary Church is. There is a sign right here saying, with the speedometer there, that, encourages people to slow down, but there is nothing past that sign. So when they're coming in that curve at a high rate of speed, some of the pedestrians or on bicycles or people on bicycles or motorized wheelchairs, they don't see them, past this curve right by Calvary Church. And so it'll connect the high school with the Family Dollar and Hibbett Sports and all of those things. And of course, the church right here. And then over here is the Vidalia Market, the Department of Family Services, and of course, this is the barren area where the field is. But there, when we looked at it and we did the walk, there is plenty of room to put a sidewalk and put the surface marking so the students will be able to cross the street and walk on the sidewalk to their neighborhood. All right, next slide, please. All right, this is a visual of Murray Drive. This is the school back here. This is the signage I was telling you about, but the curve is, I guess that would be west of there. The sidewalks will be on this side. There will be crossings right here, surface markings so they can cross. Also, right here at Carter Street. And there is a button there where they can push to cross the street to go across Carter Street. But I'm not sure if the citizens even know it's there to be utilized. But there are no surface markings where you can have the white stripes where people would know, even though it's a stop light there. There still needs to be surface markings because anywhere in the United States, when you see those white stripes, that's a crossing area. So that'll be addressed in here too. Poor cat didn't stand a chance. But right here is past the curve. This is the desired path that we were talking about, where they walk along here, and it's been ground in, but it won't affect anyone's home or their yard in that area. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the area, I think that was a concern as far as the homes past the where the canal is. The sidewalks are going to begin from Willow, midway where Willow is. There are already sidewalks there, but they are not 5 feet wide and they're not ADA compliant. So the sidewalks won't begin at the canal. They'll begin just, I guess, south of the high school, the lower elementary school, which is right here in this red box. And they will be on the south side of Concordia Avenue. Now, there is this little triangle, because this is coming down Concordia. This is Riverside Drive. The lower elementary is here. And there are sidewalks present, but like I said, they're not 5 feet wide and they're not ADA compliant. Now, the thing that is an added plus for us, coming down Concordia Drive, when you get to Oak Street, where you can go south, to get to the Council on Aging. There's a Presbyterian church, if I'm not mistaken, on one corner. The Council on Aging is on another corner. Am I correct? And then the library is across the street on Texas.
Our Lady of Lourdes.
Oh, Our Lady of Lourdes, okay. But that, when the sidewalks are replaced, they're gonna connect that area too, because of the citizens who live in these neighborhoods are need to be able to get to the Council on Aging, the library, the churches and everything. So these areas right here where you see the little blue triangles, they will also make those ADA compliant. So when they come from neighborhoods from Spruce, Magnolia, Walnut, all those streets and Holly, Locust, they'll be able to get on the, cross the street, get on the sidewalks and go to the library or the Council on Aging, and then it'll reconnect to Concordia Avenue all the way to Riverside Drive. Okay, next slide, please. All right, the specifics. The final design will be determined after procuring the design engineers. That means the final design will, of course, they'll go out and it'll be more specific than what we've done. This was an estimate on cost. It was also a preliminary design that was given to the Louisiana Department of Transportation to obtain the funding. The final design will still have to be approved, of course, once bidding and all that starts. So that's just saying again, west of the Lord, beginning at Willow Street. And if you ride through there, you'll see there are already sidewalks there. There will be no sidewalks on the north side of the street, right there from the canal ditch where those homes are. It is actually to connect the lower elementary to everything else. So the students will have sidewalks that are ADA compliant and LADOTD compliant. Just connecting the schools, businesses, and churches to other entities in the communities. All right, next slide. Okay, the benefits, and I'm gonna put a copy of this back there so everyone can look at this when this is over. So the benefits of this is of the Vidalia Safe Accessible Streets Project, which is the name of this grant. I know we call it the sidewalk grant. It's nicknamed like we all have them, I'm pretty sure. Is to provide access to multiple entities in the town of Vidalia adjacent to two major arterial streets, Murray Drive and Concordia Avenue. You know that those are the main streets that are traveled on that side of town. Sidewalks on the east and west side of Murray Street are missing and has a clearly defined desired path where students and other pedestrians walk and ride their bicycles to and from Vidalia High School, Calvary Baptist Church, Family Dollar, and other neighborhood facilities. Furthermore, sidewalks are absent along the same length of road, preventing pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorized wheelchairs from crossing the road safely. Okay, next slide. All right, next steps. This part is what comes now. Since we've been awarded the funding, these are the things that are going to have to happen throughout the process of getting the sidewalks done. The responsible charge would be that of the mayor and the city manager. Project planning will be a part of everybody that's in the admin that the mayor and city manager feels are necessary to be a part of that. Will be a constant working relationship with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. Project reporting and documentation, as with any funding, if anybody has dealt with federal funds or state funds that comes through a grant, you have to document and you have to report, sometimes quarterly, sometimes more often than that. Bid processes will have to be done with engineers, even though the Department of Transportation said that they would provide engineers. They're going to go with what the municipality basically says. This is the bid. These are the people we know, because they have so many projects. They normally trust the municipalities to handle their own as far as procuring design engineers. Project administration, that's just overseeing everything that's done with the grant from disbursements, to the bidding, to the documenting and making sure you have the artifacts and all that kind of stuff. Invoicing and disbursement, of course, would be our beautiful Deborah Moak over there with all those numbers that I want no part of. Plan specification and estimates, and then the final bids for the construction process. You know, regardless of who you want to do, you have to have a bid process, and that has to be turned in to the state, and the state turns that in with their paperwork to the federal government. Oversight of construction, engineering, and inspection is just everything that's needed. If there is a pole that needs to be moved, which we didn't see any of that, the right-of-ways, all that, all the inspection paperwork, and everything, all of this, these things, management and oversight of the construction and engineering inspection process. It's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of documentation, but it is so well worth it. It is definitely worth it. So before I turn it over to Anna, who has been a godsend, she connected me with her boss, like I said, and we just hit the ground running. She's very, very instrumental in finding out about funding, and she knows a lot of people who are in the meetings and have introduced me to a lot of people. So I am eternally grateful to her. And she's young, and I'm hoping that she'll let LSU go and take this when I get ready to really retire. I've been trying to talk her into it. I'm gonna let her talk about how our vision for getting phase 2 and 3 done. So that is the goal, to have a complete overhaul of Vidalia, not just bits and pieces or bout and spot, like my mom used to say. We want everybody to have a piece of this funding, all areas of the town to receive this wonderful makeover. Next slide, please, Dustin. Is that the slide? Go to the last slide for me. There, that slide. So we already started pulling data, getting things done to have a comprehensive safety action plan. Met with the mayor and with Jay, our city manager, and these are people who were willing, when we put the survey out the first time, that were willing to meet, and we brainstormed which areas needed improvements or enhancements or replacements. And we had a very productive meeting, and so we've already started. But in order to get the community safety action plan, we needed to hear all sides of what citizens in the community feel needed those improvements. So these are some of the people that we all met with. But as I said in the last meeting, it's not a closed committee. We welcome anyone who wants to participate. Board members, of course, you all can't participate because you have to approve our resolutions. So you can't be on our committee. That's too bad. But I'm sure you know someone if you want a representative from your community. So we've already started with our planning. We were blessed to receive 2 more grants, and I'm going to ask Anna to piggyback off what I've said. And Mayor Kraft, do you want them to ask questions now about the TAP grant, the sidewalk grant, and then ask her questions, or would you want to wait until?
Let's go ahead and let Anna do hers, and then
Okay.
we'll just do it all at one time.
Okay, all right. So this is Anna Gould. She's going to talk about the planning grants that we've been able to procure so that we can start getting a good look at the whole picture, the big picture.
Okay, right there. So we also applied for 2 additional sources of funding. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't double dipping on funding, because on the surface, these look really similar, but they're really not at all. The whole point of a lot of these grants is to have a complete streets project. That's really the name of it, is complete streets. Okay. So they're wanting to connect. Everything is connection. We can't just loosely throw a sidewalk somewhere and say we did a good job. We really want to connect places to other places, whether it's parts of the community to a school, parts of the community to the Dollar General, parts of the community to a pharmacy, things that people need that they necessarily are walking to, riding to. We've all seen people on the highway. We've talked about this several times, whether it's wheelchairs, lawnmowers, we've seen it all, right? And we want to make sure that they are safe, but also that our drivers are going to be safe too, because pedestrians can create hazards when they're walking in the middle where they're not supposed to. I'll jump down first. I'll talk about the Rapides Area Planning Commission. That's the RAPC. So we did apply for this. I'm going to say that we got it because I was basically told that we're going to get it as long as we apply for it. We qualify for this. Unfortunately, we qualify because somebody has died in our community. Okay. That's a terrible thing to qualify for, right? So what this is going to do, it's going to prioritize 3 to 5 projects in our town where they're looking at specific crash data. They're going to come in and say, you've had issues here, issues here, issues here. How can we fix that? How can we help you fix that? All right. They're going to come in on a professional level to assist. That's why you saw a lot of, we had police, we had fire, we had people who show up to these things too. They know what's going wrong. So they're going to help us figure out ways to mitigate some of that. We don't want any more damage to our citizens and to our drivers as well. We're going to gather a lot of community input also. They're going to zero in on those pedestrian bike areas. They're going to also come up with preliminary engineering. They're going to help us create ready-made projects. Okay. If you've ever written a grant, you know it's very time consuming. This program is going to develop the information that we need to dump into a grant pretty quickly. Okay. This is going to save a lot of time, a lot of your resources with people writing grants. I know Loran spends a lot of time on this. So these are going to be ready-made. That's what RAPC is going to do for us. They're looking at crash data, and they're going to help us come up with a plan so that we're ready to dump it into a program whenever it does come available. And there's a lot available right now, you guys. A lot for rural communities, because a lot of rural communities don't have the assets to spend on grant writing, right? Okay. And we're looking at our sister communities that are participating in this with us. Okay. Faraday is participating and Clayton is also participating because they've had pedestrian related accidents or fatalities. Okay. This is one parish. I'm the only parish that has 3 communities that qualify for this. Okay. They're taking some of my salary to help with the match money for this. And Ag is pumping in my salary to help with all of the match money for this, whatever it may be. Okay. So going back to the CPEX grant, I'm very excited about CPEX. CPEX is going to come in and they're going to collaborate with us. They're going to come in and sit down and figure out the big picture. What do we want to do ultimately? Okay. We're talking about the phases to this TAP grant. TAP reopens October 2024. We're ready. We know what we're doing now. Okay. We did not necessarily know what we were doing on the first go round. We know what we're doing now. CPEX is also going to further help with that. We're going to be able to collect community input. We're going to show up at football games. We're going to show up at basketball games. We're going to show up at town events. And this is CPEX, not necessarily me, but they're going to come in with their ability to collect high volume data and process a lot of that to create a really nice perspective of how we can all work together and make these suggestions for improvements. They're not coming in telling anybody what to do. They're coming in saying, here's some ideas. What do you guys think? Okay. What do y'all want to do? They're also going to come in and say that, how can we help you reach that? How can we help you create a plan? So once again, they're coming in with the big picture plan. This will include no engineering though. They're coming in with just the idea. Okay. They're going to help us create a grab bag of ideas. When funding is available, we can go ahead and start writing. So CPEX is a wonderful entity that I know St. Joe recently had CPEX come in, I think last year, really helped them kind of create an overall plan for their community too, so that they can continue to build. You've seen St. Joe. St. Joe's doing pretty well. Their downtown is really developed. They've got businesses coming in too. So but that's not all I got for now. As more stuff comes available, I love sharing it with you guys. Everybody's been wonderful to work with. And so it's been a blessing to be able to work with y'all.
Well, we thank y'all for the work you've done very much. Thank you so much. Now we have questions and answers or
Questions?
anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you all very
If
much.
Thank y'all very
come up
much.
with any questions later, please feel free to let us know. And
Thank y'all. Y'all
All
are
right.
very thorough. so
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to more discussion approval of bids on town Vidalia surplus vehicle. We got one that we didn't have on the list last time. This is a black Dodge pickup. Here is $2,156 from Mr. Danny Merrill. And here's $987.53 from Mr. looks like Frankie Carroll. We have one more. Here from Merchant.
Wonder what this big is.
No, you think about
$300? Oh, that's enough.
Yep. It's 2,177.77.
Yeah, it's a wonder.
See, it's a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Okay, do I hear a motion, we accept that bid?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner, I hear a second. Alderman Probst, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, moving on, we have, the board discussion and approval of a resolution awarding the bid for the Vidalia Industrial Park substation. And this is one on VAB Lane Road to Blvd Electrical and Utility Contractors. This is to complete the work that's needed at the transformer. And you see the low bid there was $1,136,698.69. So this is to complete that. That does not include the transmission line. That will be the only thing we haven't got finished yet. They're working when we finally got the right-of-way worked out for where it goes. Brooks Harbor is in the process of designing those poles, and that will be the last phase of getting the substation hooked up. So do I hear a motion, we accept this bid?
I'll make a motion.
Are we awarding the bid for this to the contractor, B&B?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Brent Smith made the motion and John Betts made the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have is board discussion approval on a resolution authorizing the town of Vidalia to submit a capital outlay request for the utility system upgrades for 2024-25. This is a formality. If you're getting any kind of state capital outlay, you have to have a resolution authorizing the town to request that we can receive payment or in line for payment. So do I hear a motion to
I'll make
accept
that
this
motion.
resolution?
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner, second by Alderwoman Demi. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now this is the fun part. Board discussion and vote on determination and fixing of the amount of excess hydroelectric revenues to be distributed as rebates to the retail utility customers of the town of Vidalia. Last year, we rebated up 50% of their electricity bill, and I'd like to recommend to the board that we do the same this year and recommend to our electricity users a 50% rebate of their utility bill. Is there any discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Probst. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That is really, really big for our people and for, our businesses, churches, schools. It's really, really, yeah, it's big thing. Okay, last thing we have on our agenda is board discussion of funding from excess hydroelectric revenues for the town projects at public hearings held August 22nd, 2023 and August 24th, 2023. And what I had asked is to reach out to the aldermen. The ordinance reads that they compile a list annually of the access revenues, and those things they come up with a list and they're submitted to the public, and the public, if they're good for the public interest, they should move forward on them. And in our two meetings last year and this year, we had so many, requests for monies, actually way, way more than what we have. And I've asked them to maybe take the top 5 they want to look at, doing, and us begin the discussion on which ones we will, pursue. And I'd like to just kind of ask the Aldermen if there's a different way they'd like to do that. Would they like to do that in a meeting tonight? Or would they like to get together during this next month and have a special meeting and put together what they want to do and which projects they want to pursue? Because I would like for it to be a united effort and everybody be on the same page moving forward on spending these excess funds. And I will open up the floor for any ideas to do it otherwise to the Alderman. Or answer any questions.
Did we ever determine what percent?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
And that's a good question. I had talked about, we had somewhere around, looking at the monies that's available. You're looking at probably, I'm gonna say, the neighborhood of $12 million. And I personally think that if we go and say, hey, let's spend $12 million, I think that would be foolish on our part, not knowing what we're gonna have to do in the future within the next 7 years, as far as when it comes to doing something with the hydro arrangement. So we are gonna have to have, some monies available. And I think if you look on the screen, y'all have this in your packet. This is monies that's available. It shows you on the bottom. It shows you what we've already, obligated as far as projects go on the bottom, approved projects. And you'll see what we've rebated since all of us have been in office, to the citizens. And on the bottom, you'll show the amount that's available for projects. And, it's up to you. What do y'all want to come up with? I mean, do you want to do half? Do you want to do 35%, 40%? I'm okay. I mean, I don't think we need to go and spend $12 million.
I don't think we need to spend half. I think we need to drop it, because we're gonna need money.
Yeah.
We need to, what do we got that we don't have in this town? It's not in good shape. Infrastructure?
Probably infrastructure,
Whatever.
paving infrastructure, underground infrastructure, where there's water lines and things of that nature, which I'm hoping. Now, just because we're gonna have money doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be very aggressive in trying to get, grants and capital outlay.
Oh, yeah. That's where we need to get more money from.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's because she's doing such a good job.
and
in
we're
doing
gonna,
that.
and we're gonna continue to pursue, whether it's federal or state or any kind of local funding we can get. We're not gonna give up just because we
Oh,
got
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we gotta do.
And we're
That's
gonna,
what we should have always been doing.
well,
But we hadn't had somebody aggressive like
Yeah.
she was to do that.
yeah, and we have always pursued that,
I mean, we have,
Yeah,
but you gotta have somebody that's gonna.
Yeah.
I think she got a passion to get.
yeah, I think so. And she does a very good job.
Good job. She should prove herself by what she got.
Is that what y'all want to come up with then? Is the amount of that y'all want to target to start? And to give you a perfect example, Pope Park, that first phase is going to be a total of $6 million. Well, it's going to take 2 to 3 years to probably do Pope Park.
Next year, we're gonna have more money.
And so you'll have more money. I mean, so, you might want to say, well, let's put $1 million in Pope Park or 2 million, and then let's do this other project, let's do this. And that's just an example. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys, which one y'all want to pursue. So there's a lot of great ideas out there
Yeah.
on how to spend the money.
I would like to determine an amount before we even started the
All
project.
right. So what does the rest of the board feel that way? You want to determine an amount?
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, I myself was thinking about at least keeping 50% or more on one top of it.
More. I mean, again, we look at $6 million.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend. If that, we do 12, well, right at 6 million, right? That's what we discussed. Mayor Kraft was along with me. He knows what's coming up. I asked him the other day about engaging in attorneys. We need the attorneys who know more than anybody else. And we agreed to the fact that we need attorneys to look at what we're looking at. So in 2030, 31, we can know what we're up against.
I agree.
And we need to start now, but I've been saying this ever since I've been doing this. But now we're at a position where we can put money back. But guess what? It ain't going away. The money's still gonna be there if we need it, right?
And it's going to grow.
And it's gonna keep growing
That's the-
massively. beyond, and we're looking good where we're at right now.
Just right now, the low water ain't helping us.
No, it ain't helping. But who knows when the next flood's coming?
Yeah, low water isn't helping at all.
No, it's not. But again, we're still better off than any place in our,
Oh, no doubt.
anywhere.
No doubt.
And we don't need to say, like you said, we don't need to spend money just because we have money. We need to bank some money and we still have money.
Right.
And we're making interest off that money. Interest rates are going up, so we're gonna make more money. So we need to be wise in the way that we do this. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
And we don't need to spend what we don't have.
40% is $4.5 million.
And what's 25%?
Okay, we'll see.
Shouldn't take that long.
Well, we're gonna have to refigure it. It don't have to be exact. Give us some.
This gonna be just.
2.8.
2 point, yeah.
So, I mean, you can buy a lot with 2.8. You can put $1 million on a park. Then you got a bunch more. What do we need to spend it on, I'm asking? When we got what we got, except for infrastructure, you know. But part of that, we're gonna provide, you know, with grants, hopefully, right? Can't you, aren't there
Well,
grants out there for that too?
We're gonna go for that too, you know, because the total project phase 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to say, by the time it's complete, it'll be 19 million.
Right, I
I
know,
mean, so, we're gonna go after everything we can.
right,
Now I'm just specifically talking about Folk Park.
right.
Because I think just from the citizens and the parents, mothers in our community are demanding that,
Right.
these playgrounds and splash pads and places they can, you know, not have to go out of
And
town.
how much did you say it was gonna be? 19 million?
Now, that's going all the way to the
That's what I'm
soccer
saying.
fields and lights and walk trails, bike trails. I mean, that's
But you said it's gonna be how much for about 4 or 5 years?
well, I don't know. I mean, it's going to depend. It depends on by the time it's engineered and actually, you know, come to fruition. What they're going to start is around over by the tennis courts, is putting parking and doing the playgrounds, the splash pad first, and putting what they call a bioswale through there, which is kind of the water runs through it. And the bathrooms, which is needed bad.
Right.
And so,
But we're also looking at interest rates going up.
Yeah.
Instead of spending,
Yeah.
we still got money. And then next year, so we don't spend, but how much? $2 or $3 million. If you go to 30% or whatever, $2 or $3 million. There is no place around us can spend $2 or $3 million just because they got it, you know? But we can have this, but guess what? In 2031, if we don't have what we need to have in place, we're going to be in a bad situation.
well, you know.
So I'm always saying, I want to invest in some attorneys, if nothing else, that can get us to where we need
Well,
to be.
we're going to do that, but they're just like looking at that sidewalk program. You're looking at, by the time they do this, it's bound, just like the sloop project. By the time you bounce it back and forth between state and engineers and back to state, permitting from court, all the permitting, you're looking at a 2 to 3 year process.
That's right.
And these sidewalks are probably going to be, before you see a sidewalk being constructed, you're probably looking at least 2 years.
Probably so.
I mean, and I hate that it's that way, but realistically.
But
that's-
either way, we
that's-
still got it, right? Whether it takes 2 or 3 years, we still got it, you know, because you got it.
Sure.
They actually have a time frame that they're going to give us at the training that we're going to in October. It's going to be October 3rd and 4th. The Louisiana Department of Transportation is going to bring their timeline for the beginning process so that, and from the last meeting I was in, that was one of the complaints and concerns that municipalities had, was the lag in getting these things done. So Mr. Nunes, that is the director for this program, has put in place, I guess, criteria for moving these projects along. So they're supposed to be giving us, you know, an approximate time frame. They really want to get these projects started in 24. This was what was said in that meeting. And because the funding was supposed to be given on an odd year, but they weren't able to have the meetings and do the things they were supposed to do during the pandemic, they're going to open it up again next year. which is what Anna alluded to. So that's what we've been working on with the Community Safety Action Plan, to go on and get that part, pre-finalized. So when they open it up next year, we'll be ready to go on and get phase 2. But hopefully when we go to the training and he gives us that timeline, I think I have it in an email somewhere. I may have shared it. I'm not sure if I shared it with you, Jay.
Then that's okay. I mean, I was just speculating, using that as an example of how the time, is going to come out on that. That's what I was, talking about on that.
Right.
It's going to take time for those things to, it's going to.
And one other thing I want to say is we've got a man sitting right there. Ain't no idea what that's going to bring to our community as they go into their phases. I mean, can you imagine what that could be down the road? So that's going to give us even more and more and more because of the entities that could tag on with them. So,
All right, I'm
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just basically throwing in at least, that's all I would say. I definitely want to start putting some money. You know how I feel about it because I've talked to them.
anybody against, I'll go the high number, 30%. But I want to go to the 25%, just so you know. I'm just going to be honest.
Did you say something about 41st, John?
Yeah, I was just in 40%. I just did 40%.
He just did 40%. He wasn't saying 40%.
That was less than half.
Right. That's all I was, that's
That's all I was doing. I was just throwing out the numbers.
That's less than half.
What is 20?
40% is less than half.
Yeah, it's less than half, but that's my point. So we got 6 million. Do we need to spend 6 million?
Well, my thing is, okay, if you have projects, you got this million, okay. We decide to capital, whatever, those excess funds, where do they go? Where do they stay?
They said in investments.
They said in investment, making money.
Right, okay. And I did some quick math right here of some of the projects that we had other than Pope Park, and I just threw $1 million in that. Of all the projects and the estimates that you had on the sheet, that's just south of $2 million.
Right.
That's right.
So, if we say $3 million, we're still going to get most of the projects
That's right.
that were wanted done.
That's the point I'm making.
So
We don't,
I think
and that's not, and again, some of these people have been in these projects for a while. Some of them are new. These people have been just waiting as long as other people. We don't have to produce this right now. Some of these, how long has the park been in there? How long? Oh, but if we get into it, but we got the money now that we're coming in with money, and we can meet these needs. I promise you, we can meet those down the road. But in the future, let's bank it up and then we'll meet them next year.
I think I'll make a recommendation. I'll just throw this out there. And listening to everybody, and I think to the ones who might be being silent, not saying, I would like to recommend, and the reason why I say that is because, not all these projects can get finished. The tree deal, I'd like to take, they'll get all these trees. It's a danger to our power system. That's going to be an expense. We don't know what that's going to be. But, I would like to recommend $3 million and put it there and then look at the projects we get together and maybe one at a time, two at a time, because each year, if you do have just 1 year that you have a good year of river, you will be putting up as much as possibly as $20 million.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we got coming.
And I think that I'm also looking at other possibilities of not only investing, but also investing in power possibilities. That what we could use these monies for that would really, really put us in
our
a
earnings.
very, very good position
Right.
in the future, not just for me now. I'm talking about for our generations to come, for our citizens, business, industry, and everybody.
That's what we got to look for.
So, I think that you know, again, I think that's just a recommendation. Y'all can talk about it, you can shave it, you can do whatever, but will we spend it? Because we do that, doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get spent.
That's right. Because, you know, some of these projects didn't spend all their money, you know, that we gave them money for. But again, I can go with $3 million.
How's everybody?
I can go with
Yeah,
$3 million.
I'm fine.
All
I
right.
think that's better than $6 million. But
And
at
12,
least
and
we
12.
met in the middle, right? So
Yeah.
All right,
I'm good with that.
okay. Does that sound like pretty much, Ms. Rosa?
I said yes.
You said, Robert?
Yes.
All right, sounds like that, I think that moving forward, what I'd like to do is maybe within the next week or two is get with you guys and have, private meetings and let's talk about the ones y'all want to look at and how much we think we can get fit in there and what y'all want to see. And then we'll come back, either have a special meeting, invite the public and unveil it. And I think we all are together on it. I think it'll be a big plus.
I think we need to do that.
Is that okay? Y'all like that
I
idea?
agree.
I like that idea.
Okay.
I do.
All right, so there's really no action to do tonight other than maybe setting aside a amount of that for projects in this go-round to use. Do I hear a motion that we
I'll make the
set
motion.
aside that $3 million
So the
for
3 million
projects?
is gonna be what percentage now?
It's close. It's,
Well, it's
I
just
can't
probably
tell you
under
the
half
exact
of it.
percentage.
I mean,
Yeah.
just probably half.
But he said, you know, it's a little above, it's in between
Yeah.
25 and 30%.
So anyway,
I think I'm gonna.
Pardon?
Brent said.
Somebody said
Yeah, I
25.
made a motion.
you made the motion. Motion made by Alderman Smith here, second.
Second.
Alderman,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, here, motion we adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Probst here, second.
Second.
By Alderman Denby, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight. Peter, good to see you.